do is make a 3D Batman picture, something kind of like this. So what I'm going to first do is I'm going to grab my type tool and I'm going to type out the letters for Batman. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight these letters and I'm going to select a nice bold font. So to do that, I'll go under type to font and I'll probably use something like Arial Black. Okay, so after I have that all set up, I'm going to switch to my selection tool. I'm going to go to type, and then I'm going to create outlines to turn this font into a shape. So I can adjust it like I would any other shape. Make it nice and big. Okay, so now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to lock this layer. I'm going to create a brand new layer. I'm going to drag it underneath layer 1, and then I'm going to grab my paintbrush. With my paintbrush, I'm going to make a little dot that's going to become a vanishing point for me. Okay, so now that I've got that all set, I'm going to go ahead and start working on the letters. So to do the letters, I'm going to take my pen tool and I'll throw some color in here so we can see the shapes here. Okay, so with my pen tool, I'm going to go to the corners of my letters, go down to my vanishing point. Since B has a round area, there's not really a corner to go to, so I'm just going to go to where the first bump is, and then I'll go to where the second bump is. And bring that around, closing that shape. Okay, so this B, we can see inside of it, so I want to show where that edge would be. So I'm just going to line that up so it would go to the vanishing point if I were to go all the way down there, which I'm not at this time. Do the same thing with this corner. Line it up so I can see where that would go, right about there, at that angle. And I'll close in that shape as well. And since my letters are on top and this layer's behind, it won't matter because this is going to cover up any extra shapes, so don't worry about that. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next letter, and I'm going to maybe just change the color just so it's more clear where the edges of my different shapes are. So I'll go with my A, come down to this vanishing point, come up to that corner, and every shape that I draw with this I am closing in the shape with the pen tool. So if I get that angle right about there, and I'll bring that down, closing that shape right here, close that in. And from this perspective, we wouldn't really see any lines inside the A, but I'm just going to go ahead and close in that space so it's not hollow. And then we'll go to the side of the A to finish closing in this shape. So I'm going to go ahead and change the color again just so it's more clear where my letters are. Let's start with that, close that in, go to the bottom, close that in, go to the side, close in this side, go to the next corner, close that in. Okay, so I'm just going to continue to do this with all the letters, but the A will be what I do last because the A is sitting directly over my vanishing point. So if you have a letter that's sitting over your vanishing point, make sure you do that letter last, and you'll maybe see why here in a second. Okay, so now I'm done with tracing around those shapes. I'm going to do a few spots where I make certain things a little bit darker just to add some contrast. So underneath the bottom sides of these letters, I'll maybe make them a darker shade, so that will help some of these things pop out a little more clearly. Now what I might go ahead and do is I'm going to take my gradient tool and I'm going to throw a gradient inside of these letters to make them a little more dynamic. So I'll just add this gradient to some of these different letters here. Okay, so now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to lock this layer that my shapes are on. I'm going to go back to my Batman layer. I'm going to unlock that layer. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to ungroup my letters. So I'll select those and ungroup them. And then I'm going to bring in a picture of Batman. So I have one on my desktop. I'm just going to go ahead and grab that. I'll stick that in here. So I'm going to kind of maybe stretch that a little bit to be about the size of what my letters are. Then I'm going to go ahead and send this to the back. So I'll select it, right click, arrange, send to back. And then this back layer I'm going to make 5 more copies of it. So I'll hit Control C, then I'll hit Control F because I want it to sit right on top of what's already there. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my B, and then I'm going to select this first picture, and I'm going to go to Object, to Clipping Mask, and Make. Then I'll select my next letter, select the picture underneath it, go to Object, Clipping Mask, and Make. Go to the T, hold Shift, select the background picture, go to Object, Clipping Mask, Make. Select the M, hold Shift, select the picture, Object, to Clipping Mask, to Make. Select the A, hold Shift, select the picture, Object, Clipping Mask, Make, and then last I'll grab the N, select the picture, Object, Clipping Mask, and Make. Okay, so now we can see that picture of Batman inside the letter. So I'm going to go ahead and put a stroke around these letters. So when you do that, it removes the stroke from it. So I'll go ahead and bring the stroke back around there. Alright. And now what I'll do is I'm going to maybe put a background on this. So I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to drag that to the very bottom. I'm going to go ahead and lock the other 2 layers. Grab my rectangle tool, and I'm going to draw a box here. I'll throw in some color. Then maybe what I'll do is I'm going to find a Batman logo. We're going to do this real quick because I'm feeling lazy. Okay, so I'll grab this logo and I'm going to bring this into my Illustrator file. I'll shrink that down. Now of course you can draw your own if you want, but just for the sake of time to make this real quick, I am just copying it. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and take this logo, and maybe I'll do a 3-color image trace on it and expand it. I'll take my direct selection tool, and I'm going to grab the white part and then just delete that. So you have to do that with the direct selection tool. Now I'm going to go ahead and select that. We'll go under Object to Pattern and Make. So now I'm going to go ahead and make a pattern for this. I might put a little more space in between some of those things. Go ahead and hit Done. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to come to this background, select the background. I'm going to take my Appearance tool. Now if you can't find your Appearance tool, just look under Window. And with the Appearance tool, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to add a new fill. And in that new fill, I'm going to put my Batman logo so it sits on top of the color that's already there. And there we have it.